Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Scary but true events that have occurred to you, whether you have an explanation for what you're sure it was or not. Shadow people, ghosts, folk creatures from your area, what have you.
Usually I ignore these threads, but I'm in a spooky mood, so I'll tell you my story. I have a friend who lives in a house in the old part of downtown. She's lived there since she was a kid. The first time I went into her house, I felt that icky feeling in my gut, like something just didn't settle right. After visiting her several times, I had to ask if I was just being weird, or if this place made her uncomfortable too. Almost in unison, her mom and dad all said, "No, it's not just you." They went on to tell me a few predictable stories about hearing thumping in unoccupied rooms. Her mom claimed that once she was doing laundry in the basement when she felt a hand clutch a hold of her ankle so hard it left a bruise. She hasn't gone down there since. For the next year or so, every time I visited, I felt that ugly sensation still. Then, one day she got me on and asked me to come over. She said she had something to show me. I get there. Her mom's talking to somebody on the phone. Her dad is digging around to find as many video cameras and recorders as he can. And she says to me, "We were cleaning in the basement and moved an old washing machine that was left by the previous owners away from the wall. We walked down the stairs to her basement. I think this could explain a few things," she said, as she led me to the back wall. It's a solid wall, made of poured concrete, but where the washing machine had been, there was a small door made of cheap wood no more than 4 feet tall. There were staples all around the edges of the door frame, and ripped plastic bits beneath the staples. We had to peel off a sheet of plastic to open the door, she says to me, while she works her fingers into the space between the door and the jamb. She then pulled back the wood door and turned on a flashlight. It was a tiny room, a little deeper than a modern closet, maybe 9 feet wide and 5 feet tall. Inside sat a very, very old wheelchair, too small for an adult. Along with it were some beat-up tin dishes, a filthy 1920s-style nightgown, and a few old rags. The floor and walls were made of dirt. We're pretty sure there's a body under her house.
Absolutely similar story, but my dad's experience. When he was a teenager, he moved into the basement of his grandma's old house. They just used it for storage, so it wasn't a problem. But he kept seeing shadows, not random flickering in the corner of his eye, but actual unexplainable shadows moving around the room from time to time. After some time, he finally moved some of the boxes that were stored down there to reveal about a 3-foot square cut out of the wall. A bare dirt area about the size of a small room with snacks and blankets and a bunch of occult shit in there. He found out later that his older sister found the room before he moved down there and used it to mess around with black magic.
All right, I'll contribute. I got a friend who lives a few streets away from me, so he's easily within walking distance. I used to hang out with him playing games until nearly 3 or 4 in the morning, then walk home. Our streets have those tall, overhanging street lights, but nearly half of them are always out or flickering. Well, one time while walking home, I was doing my usual dodging from staying out from under the lit lights. I have some weird feeling of being in that single spot of light with darkness surrounding me, like I'm being put on display for something hiding there in the dark. I feel as if I stay shrouded with the darkness, then nothing can see me. Weird, I know. Anyway, I got more than halfway to my house, and every light, whether it's street lights, porch lights, or even damn yard lights were out. The only light was coming from the moon, and I started feeling uneasy around walking by a house and took a glance to the nearest window, which was covered by a curtain. Before I had a chance to turn my head back, the curtain lifted to one side and stayed there, with nothing visible behind the glass, just pitch black with the rest of the house, and there was no car in the driveway. Freaked me out so fucking bad I took a quick jog the rest of the way and continued looking behind me every 10 seconds. I swear that my door almost didn't want me to enter my house after how freaked out I got. Took several tries unlocking my front door before jumping and slamming it shut, then locking it immediately.
Don't know if this is paranormal or anything, but it did really change my life. One day my family decided to go to some boring place, and since I was young and rebellious, I decided not to go. In the house we lived in, I had always felt uneasy. Can't really explain the feeling, but you guys that know will understand. So I was sitting on the sofa watching TV, feeling like someone was watching me. I'm getting the shivers and decide to go upstairs to my room. So I go up to my room, and I still have these feelings that someone or something is watching me. I think it's just my friends playing a trick on me. They knew I was home alone. But as the time goes by, I start to realize that it's not my friends doing, since it was late at night. Now I'm freaked out since it feels like there is something in the shadows. Kinda like darkness moving inside darkness, and I decide only to stare at my computer screen and browse the internet. At 3 in the morning, I'm getting tired and have almost forgotten the stalking feeling. But just as I am about to shut down the computer, my hair on my back stands right up, and I turn around. So I turn around expecting to see something, but there is nothing there. And now the thing that changed my life occurred. I turn around to turn off my screen, and when I press the button and the screen turns black, a face appears on the screen. It was reflected, so I saw my face and this thing's face standing right behind me. I freak out and fall and hit my head on the desk and fainted. My family found me the next day laying on the floor, and I'm now 22, seeing a therapist and going on heavy drugs, etc. I still have no idea what that face was, and now I always leave the computer screen on.
This is my dad's story, but I'm gonna pass it on. He used to work as a guardsman on the Mississippi River, and one night the other shift failed to report and relieve him, so he had to work a 24-hour shift. It was late at night when his shift ended, and storming, and the river was almost up to the levee. Finally, his boss called and told him to go home. At 4 a.m., the police call and tell him to come back down to the docks. Why? He asks. Something's happened to your boss. They wouldn't say anything more except that it wasn't physical. When he got there, his boss, who had normally slicked back hair, had his hair all poofed up like Eraserhead. He explained that they had found him and were going to erase his memories, and that he had been seeing them sneaking outside the windows of the guardhouse. They took his boss away, and as my dad was fumbling through his notes, all he saw were logs of telepathic conversations and drawings of strange lights and the heads of aliens poking around the window.
Hey/X, just wanted to share an interesting story with you all. It was something that happened to me recently. So I went to LA this past weekend for a wedding. While staying in LA, I decided to do some sightseeing. It was a nice city and all, great beaches. One night, I was walking down, I believe it was Venice Beach. It was quite late, and as such, there were not many people around. That said, there were still some tourists in the area, and as such, there were street performers out as well. One street performer caught my eye in particular. It was a clown, a creepy-looking fucker too. He was quite short in stature, was dressed in a purple jumpsuit and had a thick Cajun accent. The clown walks up to me and asks me a question. "Hey man, do you want a balloon animal?" Except with his thick accent, it sounded more like, "Hey man, do you want balloon animal?" Dumbfounded, I respond with a simple, "No thank you," and walk off. Well, that was quite bizarre, I thought. Not long after this encounter, I spotted the clown again in front of me. The strange thing is, I didn't see this guy walk past me, and you would think I wouldn't miss a guy dressed like that. Granted, it may have been at night, but the path was very clearly lit. He approached me and asked, "Hey man, do you want balloon animal?" At this point, I'm quite irritated at the clown and tell him to be gone. I felt quite strange after that encounter with the Cajun Clown, uneasy. Something just wasn't right about that guy. My suspicions were later proven true, as no sooner had I thought that I spotted him yet again off to the right of me. He was grinning madly while making a balloon animal, his grin filled with decaying teeth. I guess street performers don't have any sort of dental plan. Before the clown could say anything for me, I walked past him. Thinking I've seen the last of that guy, I start to relax a bit. I put a fair amount of distance between us, so I was confident there was no way he could have gotten in front of me again. To be sure, I looked behind me to see if I could catch a glimpse of him. Not seeing any sign of him, I sighed in relief. Then I heard a voice behind me. "Hey Mayon, do you want balloon animal?" No way, I thought. He couldn't possibly. As I turned around to face the front, I saw him, standing right in front of me, grinning. He held out the balloon animal he supposedly just made. It was yellow, and it didn't resemble any creature I know of. Make of that what you will. Scared, I couldn't think of what else to do, so I grabbed the damn thing. My mind urged me not to. I knew there was something really shady about this guy, but I took the damn balloon animal anyway. After taking it, the clown just chuckled and walked away. I looked at the balloon animal, and then around me. That was the last time I saw the clown. I asked a few others who I was traveling with if they saw any sign of this clown I encountered. None of them did. I took the balloon animal back with me to the hotel, and even took it with me back home on the plane. To this day, it sits in my room. I've been meaning to get rid of it, but I dare not to for fear of the consequences. That clown just may pay me another visit. Did I just have my first paranormal experience? Or was this guy just really agile and creepy?
When I was in, junior high, I guess, I had a friend that would come over during the summer and stay a few weeks. We'd known each other since kindergarten. Anyway, it was probably about 8 p.m. We're sitting in my room playing with toys or some shit. My parents call us out onto the porch, with that urgent tone parents can do. We get out onto the porch, and there's a huge fucking ball of light in the sky, kinda shaped like a bell. None of us really said anything, just stood there and watched this thing. I don't know how long we watched it, probably only a minute or two in actuality. But suddenly the thing drops 2 or 3 very small balls of light from the bottom that fall straight down. And just like that, the thing was gone. Not so much gone as just extinguished. Almost as if the light drew into itself and vanished instead of just going away. Fucking weird. Still creeps me the fuck out.
I am a firm believer in spirits. I've had spirits follow me my entire life. In my old house that I lived in when I was around 8-ish, my family would be downstairs watching TV when we'd hear someone moving upstairs. Our dogs would constantly growl at things in the dining room, but only at night. I've had things move without moving them. I've felt someone climb into bed with me when no one was really there. I've had windows I've nailed shut open on their own. Once, even my dad found my sister sitting on the top of the stairs screaming while looking down them. The weird thing is, she was still asleep. But now here's an actual story. I have a fear of seeing something outside my window or in a mirror. Blame horror movies, if you will. But something like that has always scared me to death. Now this story takes place in a house after my parents divorced. I'm around 16 or so at this time. I'm home alone because my mom and stepdad and sister all went on a trip and I didn't feel like going. It's getting late and nothing is on TV, so I decide to go to my room and browse the net. Now our living room has 3 large windows in it, and then a window facing the hallway I walk down as I go to my room at the end of it. It's rather dark, so paranoia starts to kick in. I get to my room and shut the door quickly. I turn on the lights and lock up my room, but something feels different. The room is colder than normal. I shrug it off as just the small room keeps colder air from the AC longer or something. So I get to use the PC for a bit when I slowly get this feeling like something is watching me. Again, I shrug it off, but the feeling is still there and seems to not want to go away. So after a good bit of tolerating it, I get up and check things out. I head into the bathroom first and turn on the lights. The first thing I notice is the shower curtain is closed. I never close it, and I was the last to use that shower. I cautiously open it and luckily found nothing. I got about my business in the restroom and I left the light on just in case I wanted to go back in before bed. Now there's a window on the wall directly opposite of the doorway to my bathroom. I see a black shape appear and slowly vanish. I turn around, but nothing is there. Thoroughly freaked out, I slam the door quickly. I go to my bed and sit down to calm myself. Not less than a minute later, I hear the shower curtain closing in the bathroom. Go rush downstairs, but I still have that feeling of being watched. I go and pour myself a glass of milk and turn on the TV to distract myself. I had forgotten about the huge windows in the living room due to being used to them by now. I casually glance out the one closest to me and see a face, but it has no features. Just a pale face. I have never been so scared in my life. I ran into my parents' room and hid in their bathroom for the rest of the night. To this day, no one in my family has believed me, but I swear this really happened. I haven't seen the face again, but I still get this feeling of being watched occasionally, even though I've moved to a completely different city. I'm 20 now, and I still have trouble using the restroom at night.
My story, again, not very interesting but still quite creepy. It was Saturday, 8 or 9 p.m., and me and my friends were on the way to a party at some chick's house that was 15 miles east of our city. When we got off the bus, some of the guys were already drunk, 'cause they had a lot of beer before, and started fooling around. It was a totally small, decrepit town, and it was around 10:30. Not a soul anywhere. Even most of the windows were dark. The only light was from the street lights. My friend Andrew suddenly gasped and pointed at another friend. We both started to run, and so did the others. Suddenly we heard a loud crack and the sound of glass being broke. After we sprinted for about 2 minutes, scared shitless, Andrew, gasping for air, said, "Did you see that? You mean that red dot on his head?" "Yeah, but did you see where it came from?" He told me there was a car that was empty parked 30 or 40 feet from us. He said it must have been empty, but then he saw a silhouette of a head and a rifle poking out. He turned round and saw the red dot on his friend's head.
I live in South Carolina. When I was little, I had frequent, extremely painful ear infections. So my parents driving me to Shaw Air Force Base in the middle of the night to take me to the emergency room was not uncommon. I was 9 years old when this happened. My mother was driving, and my brother, 19, was riding shotgun so that he could drive back while she rested. The drive to Shaw took us through long, monotonous stretches of back roads that were mostly farmland or just empty land, sparsely populated by a trailer or old house here and there. It was around 2 a.m., and we were still about 30 minutes away from the base when we all more or less simultaneously noticed something in the night sky. 2 white orbs were rotating in the sky in a path parallel to the ground. Imagine you're holding a stick in the middle with 2 white balls on either end, twirling it around, and that'll give you an idea of the motion. They must have been quite far apart, as we all agreed that one would seem to get farther away, dimmer, while the other appeared closer. They were indistinct, just glowing white, but with well-defined edges. No other lights, colors, or shapes were visible. That is, until a few minutes later, when one of them inexplicably split. Now there were 3 similar orbs rotating about this regular axis. There was no deviation in their rotation. We watched, awestruck, and after a few more minutes they split again. Now 4 lights were following that same precise orbit. I've given up telling people about this IRL. It's been years since I tried. People say, it was just spotlights. You were near a base. In reality, we weren't that close to the base at all. However, it's the end of this story that really makes it stand out. With no warning whatsoever, no change in their path or intensity, we witnessed orange pillars of extremely intense light shoot down, seeming to touch the ground, and then they were all gone. This happened in a second. Just a flash that extended down to the ground from each orb, and then they vanished. Up until this point, we had maintained some skepticism, but I've never seen any phenomenon of this world, natural or otherwise, that produced the same effect. We went to the hospital and got amoxicillin for my ear.
When I was younger, maybe 10 or 12, I had a little toy police truck. It was battery operated, and if you pushed down on it hard enough, the lights would go off, and it would make a pretty loud siren sound. One night, as I was about to fall asleep, the thing went off in my toy box and went for the full duration of the siren sound, maybe like 10 to 15 seconds. I shat bricks immediately. You know that flushed, startled feeling when some shit goes down and you don't really know what it is yet. Then calmed down when I realized it was just some stupid toy. I could see the siren lights in my toy box. So, being a reasonable, analytical young man, I wondered how it could possibly have activated. Did something fall on it? Possibly the batteries discharged by random chance? Not quite groggy enough to say fuck it, I got up and walked over to the toy box. There was a decent amount of light coming from the hallway, illuminating the area well. So I picked the toy up and examined it closely. It seemed fine until I turned it over and found that the battery faceplate was missing and it had no batteries in it. I remembered then that it had not had power in weeks, and that I had discarded it because it wasn't fun enough to keep batteries in. It's not the most brick-shitting story, but from what I know of capacitors and electronics, There's no possible way that a significant charge could have lasted inside of that toy police car. Not to mention the force to activate it by triggering the switch.
100% true story here. I was like 12 years old when I woke up at like 5:30 in the morning. And since I never get up that early, I decided to go out and get the paper. There's a gas station just at the corner, and I had $1 on me. I had nothing better to do, and the good cartoons didn't start for another half hour. I packed my pocket knife, even though I had never gone out anywhere with a knife before. Totally uncharacteristic. It seemed like a really shitty creepypasta. I go down there and get my paper, 25 cents short. He let me have it anyways, and walk back to my house on the same block. For some reason, I get the switchblade out and open it up, hiding it under my oversized jacket sleeve. Again, weird and uncharacteristic. If I didn't experience it myself, I would have called it really stupid writing. Just out of nowhere, there's this big guy leaning against one of the house's mailboxes. I was only in the gas station for a second, and why the hell would there be someone on my dead-end street at 5:30 in the morning? He was just leaning on the mailbox like he was waiting for a welfare check, and it kinda made me uneasy. He seemed totally out of place. I couldn't come up with any explanation of him being there, so I just walked straight back to my house on the other side of the street. Just as I walk by, he starts following me. He walk across the street, beelining me. I start making up excuses. Well, I'm out here, why can't some random hobo be too? Maybe he just decided he wanted to walk to the dead end of the street. I'm scared as all hell, my mind coming back to the opened knife in my hand. I keep thinking, do I want to go to jail for the rest of my life for shanking a hobo or get assaulted and killed by a hobo? I could have just spun around and stabbed him in a second. I kept thinking he'd grab my arm before I could stab him or something. I was just too scared. He was following me and getting closer. He was within arm's length. I finally resolved to kill him. I was going to kill some big hobo, whether he was an innocent bystander or not. I take a deep breath and look up. I'm in front of my gate right at that second. I run inside and spin around. He looks at me and says, "Good morning." Then he knocked me out and I woke up with my paper gone.
I know that this was most likely sleep paralysis, but it still made me bricks when it happened. I was sleeping in my bed one night when I just suddenly wake up. I'm still laying in my bed, but my room has taken on a very deep, dark red glow. I can't move at all and am having trouble breathing. In the position I'm laying, I'm looking to my left, towards the bedroom door and the closet doors. From that direction, there's a very ominous presence there. I can't be sure what exactly it was, but I know that it was enjoying the fact that I couldn't breathe and was laughing at me. I'm freaking out at this point, trying to move, scream, anything, but I'm just stuck, barely sucking in air and staring at this figure in my room. Suddenly, I hear the sweetest voice I've ever heard in my voice in my ears, encouraging me, telling me things that at this moment I can't recall. But what sticks with me is that whatever was said, the memory still makes me feel like crying tears of joy. As this voice was encouraging me, the presence in the room was lifted, and I really woke up and began to breathe, and I'm almost in tears. One of the oddest experiences in my life. God, the more I think about it, the more weird shit happened in that house. One night, my brother and I were playing video games in my room. We'd been playing for about an hour, but that was generally short for us, when my brother paused the game for a second. I ask if he's okay, and he kind of shakes his head and says that he is. So we continue to play, when about 5 minutes later, he does the same thing, pauses the game, stares blankly for a second, and then says he is okay. At this point, I'm a little concerned, but I let it slide. Hell, I was 14 at the time. I couldn't let my brother being weird get in the way of gaming. After a while, I stopped playing and was just watching my brother play. I'm laying on my bed and he's sitting on the floor in front of the TV. He pauses the game again, and this time he says he's seeing weird colors. He stoops for a minute and goes back to playing. For the last time, he pauses the game, but this time he doesn't say anything. He's blank staring again, and the next thing I know, he jerks his head back and is staring up at something. Here is where it gets weird. At this point, I realize that I am reacting to him and moving towards him as he falls backwards, and then everything I remember just kind of goes black, like my mind was blocking it out. After about a minute, I regain my senses and begin screaming for my parents to come to my room. My mom, being the most awesome mom in the world, just yells back, asking what's going on. I'm cradling my brother as he is convulsing in my arms, and I yell to her that he is having a seizure. After that, paramedics, firefighters, etc. Being an EMT now, I realize that a lot of what my brother was experiencing were tell signs that many epileptics experience before they have a seizure. I've played over the night 1,000 times in my head, and what I still can't get past is that it had to do with something that was going on with my brother at the time, you know? All the paranormal shit. As I remember, after this episode, pretty much all of the paranormal stuff stopped. It was the only seizure that he has ever had, and none of the tests came back positive for epilepsy. I know logically that my mind probably threw up a block so that I don't remember exactly what happened to my brother, but I still can't shake that it wasn't just a seizure. Maybe not bricks worthy, but I've got insomnia, and I feel like sharing.
When I was about 11, apparently I had been screaming, "Fuck, shit, fuck," in my sleep, like straight out sleep screaming. I never cussed in front of my parents, much less screamed it in my sleep. My parents, realizing something was wrong, come out to see what's going on. I'm running down the hallway, rubbing my hair. They look at me like, "What's the matter?" I look up at them and say, "I've got squirrels in my hair!" and run into the bathroom and lock the door. They go back to sleep, and I wake up the next morning not remembering anything. Definitely /X/.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel, as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.